G'day, Aussie Bonsai bloke here, how you going? Today I'm going to do a little bit of carving on my Chinese elm. Sorry I didn't get a video of this, but I've done a bit of just a little bit of styling work. It already had the structure set, so all I've done is just wire up a few of the little ones and do a bit of trimming, just to clean it out a bit, make it nice clean lines. And anyway, so all I've got left to do now is to do a bit of carving on a couple of these. There's only two spots where I've had major cutbacks where I have to carve. And if I don't do it now, what's going to happen is all these shoots are going to start growing and getting in the way, and this will be the last chance I get to it properly before it overgrows and makes it almost impossible to get to it. So now's an okay time to do it. Probably could have done it earlier, as in a year ago, but it is what it is. I can still get to them fairly well. I'd also like to talk a little bit about the carving bits, because I noticed a lot of people comment on what carving bits I do use. So I'll just have a bit of a comment on the bits I do use, and also show you some new ones I got today. So I'll put this to the side. Okay, so generally I've been using that one, and that one in the Dremel, and also a router bit here. So I'll show you them. This one here I got from Bonsai Sensation in Victoria. It works pretty well, but it's actually a little bit slow to take the wood off because it's got so many cutting blades. It makes it really smooth having more blades, but it takes a bit longer. Even though it's so big, it actually takes a bit longer to get the wood off, as opposed to like a router bit, which is very aggressive, jumps around a lot, but it gets rid of a lot of wood really quickly, and that surprisingly gets rid of wood probably 2 to 3 times quicker than that big one, really. Then there was a medium-sized one which did pretty well, but once again it's got 6 blades on it, so it took a while. To the fact that even this Dremel one has only got 3 blades on it actually works pretty well, except it's getting a bit gunked up now and I've got to clean it and maybe try and sharpen it, but they're getting a bit blunt. And then I have this little one here, and what I do with this one is at the end I put little grooves in the wood to make it more natural looking, so it looks like the grain of the wood, and I put grooves in there, and that works pretty well for that. So they're the main ones that I've been using, but by far the main one I use is a router bit 6mm shaft, which fits in the die grinder. So here's another one that I've been using. This is another router bit, fits in the die grinder. And anyway, I went shopping today at Bunnings. Got this brand new pack of router bits. Obviously I won't be using the router bits with these bearings on, and they're the wrong shape anyway. But what I have done is I've taken one of the bearings off of this back one here, and I'm going to see, because that's only 2 bladed, it's going to be seriously aggressive. I'm going to have to be really careful what I'm doing. I'm going to try that one. Also got some new router bits, so I'll be trying at least one of those, maybe 2. Another router bit here. So I'll be putting a couple of these in. This one looks a bit more aggressive. And yeah, there's a single bladed one here, but I'm not sure how that would go. And also a pointed one. This one here is actually meant for dovetails in wood. This one here is like a almost like a drill. It even has a little blade on the side there, but it could be handy for some certain jobs. So I'm gonna just put a few in and maybe just give you a bit of a close-up look at them working on the wood. I'll just get a bit of wood just so you can see how aggressive they are or aren't. So this is just the old router bit. In fact, I won't use that because it's a bit blunt, so I want to give you a fair comparison about the bits, about how aggressive they are and how well they work. Extremely tight here. Help if I went the right way, wouldn't it? Okay, so that's the old one out. So I'll put a new one in about the same size. See how that goes. 6mm shaft. You can get a die grinder which fits a 3mm shaft as well. It's got like a little collar that adapts to a 3mm. Right, so I'll just have a little bit of a go with this. Always really brace your hand and, you know, really solidly brace your hand on something and then get to the carving. So I'll just have a bit of a go with this. As you can see, that's already left a fairly significant hole there. So the router bits do work pretty well. So now I'll get another router bit out, maybe try a more aggressive one. Might even get this big girl out here, see how that goes. Could be a bit dangerous, we'll see. Not recommended probably. In a die grinder, it's meant for a router. This one here, be extremely careful because you slip with this one. Whack it into your arm, good luck. Yeah, you can see how much that takes off. And you can see how much that's taken off. It's absolutely buried it. So that's with this one here. And it's really gone deep, nearly right through there. So you can see that gets rid of a lot of wood really quickly. But can be extremely dangerous if you're not careful. It can just jump out at you and take off. So that one there's not for the faint of heart. And can be extremely dangerous, but as you can see, takes off a lot of wood. Now next on the list, I'll give this one here a go just to show you a comparison. This is the one from Bonsai Sensation. It's a little bit dull now, but to be honest, it wasn't much better than this when I first got it. Looks like it should be good for getting rid of a lot of wood, but it's not so good. Ready? Right, so you can see in about the same amount of time I've got rid of a reasonable amount, but nowhere near like that big hole made there. So it works alright, and it's a lot smoother, it feels a lot safer, and I think even at some revs, if you hit yourself in the arm with that, probably wouldn't do a lot of damage as opposed to the other bit. But at the end of the day, you shouldn't really be hitting yourself in the arm anyway, should you? Anyway, there's that one. I'll maybe try this really aggressive sort of route a bit, see how that goes. And then after that, I'll probably get into carving a tree. It's enough of a demo. Oh, I do have that drill one. I'll give you a bit of a look at that drill one. Alright, so there's the more aggressive route a bit, but still way smaller than this big one. As you can see. Ready? I'll do it next to this I'll do it next to this one here, and we'll just compare those two. Ready? See, as you can see, if you're not concentrating, I was looking at the camera then and not at what I was doing, and it grabbed and just took off 100 mile an hour. Now that could either be a branch gone. Yeah, could either be a branch gone, or maybe even a trip up to the doctor's, so just be careful. I'll have another go. Tip that out of there. As you can see, it takes a lot of wood away very quickly. Almost right through the other side now. So just seriously be careful. Anyway, I'll show you my kit. I've got to show you much about the kit. Oh, first I'll just put in this other one. I haven't shown you this other bit here. This is I guess you could call it a bit of a drill bit. What it is it's got a point on it. I haven't used it, but it's dusty from all the dust flying around. It's got a point on it, but it's also got a blade on the side there, so I assume it's going to act a bit like a drill bit, but I've never seen or used one before, so we'll see. Might be a good one for getting in deep to carve out some big holes, which is actually what I'm planning on doing to that Chinese elm today. Okay, so we're gonna see what it does. Alright, first thing I've noticed, it's a lot slower at trying to dig wood. Well, I gave it a fair good go, and I don't know whether it's cutting a hole or burning a hole. I think that bit's going to be useless. I'd rather put on a small router bit than stuff around with that one. So I'll take that one out. It's going to be hot because it's burning. Oof, a bit warm. Alright, so now I'm going to put in the smallest of the router bits. Maybe. Maybe might even give this big one a bit of a go in the middle. In the middle of the tree. I'll give it a bit of a go. Could be a bit risky, but hey, what's the point of having it if you don't use it? See what happens. I should really show you the kit too. This kit. It's a 15-piece tungsten tip carbide set. Comes with a little diamond stone as well. It's also got some other router bits here, plus all the router bits and stuff that I showed you. a lot of different bits, and yeah, it's only 53 bucks from Bunnings, so I reckon it's going to be pretty good. So if you want a cheap set and you got a die grinder, go for it. Pretty cheap way of carving and quite quick. Just be careful. A bit more careful than what I am sometimes. Get rid of that bit of wood. Well, good day, welcome back. Fair bit of shavings here. I've got to wash that off with the hose so that the moss can come back out. So yeah, that's pretty much it. That's all I'm going to do. I did that all with that one really big bit, which I probably didn't need, and the smaller router bit. So as you can see, you can do it fairly cheaply with one of these cheaper sets like this, 15 pieces, 50 bucks, as opposed to pretty much 50 bucks for just one, and then I think 40 and 40, so that's well, what's that, 130, 120, 130 bucks worth of bits there, or 50 bucks for this bit. So if you want to do it a bit more economy, a little bit riskier, but still works with the router bits fine, just got to be careful. This tree managed to survive without losing any branches. Yeah, that's about it for today. The only thing I will say is I've carved this one a bit differently. What I'm going to do with this one, because it's only a couple of stubs really, and you can't really carve down the trunk much because you've got a branch here and a branch here that are relying on the live vein, so you don't want to be carving down into there too much, or these branches will die. I'll give you a bit of a close-up in a sec. All the buds are starting to come out. So yeah, what I was going to say is, instead of carving down like that, what I've done is I've just carved out the stub a bit. I'll show you, I'll give you a close-up. And I've also carved in quite deep in the centre, and same with this one here. I've carved in quite deep in the centre of that, and what I'm hoping is that the water's going to pool up in there and just naturally rot it out. Bit of wet down the lungs. Yeah, it's going to naturally rot out a bit, which should be fine for the tree. I'll keep an eye on it. If it gets infested with anything too bad, I'll do something about it, but I'm going to purposely, you know, keep them full of water, and hopefully it'll look natural. Yeah, so I think it's about time I give you a bit of a close-up. Got all my tools here. So yeah, 50 bucks, can't go wrong. They're actually quite sharp, to be honest. They did a really good job. They're a tungsten tip, I think. Yeah, tungsten carbide tip. So they're for a rotary tool. They spin 25-30,000 RPM. You don't really, this one here's only got one speed. You don't really want to get the ones that come with the variable speed are good, but when you're using these sorts of bits, these bits are designed to run at full maximum RPM, because what will happen if you run them at only half RPM, they'll grab even more. Rather than spinning fast enough that they don't really grab as much, you have them running at half RPM, like 12,000 RPM, what will happen, they'll spin slower, then they'll grab and take off a lot more. So you're actually better off running at a higher RPM. Only thing is, if you do go wrong, you could go really wrong. No worries. Cheers for watching Aussie Bonsai Bloke. I hope this helped you out a bit with the carving tools. There's, you know, cheap ways of doing it. You don't have to use all the expensive stuff. Like, I think Kaizen Bonsai in the UK charges about $100 for a bit. They're a little bit better than these, obviously, but you can still get by using cheaper bits. You don't have to go out and spend a fortune. If you're a bit more strapped for cash like me, got kids to look after or whatever, you know, this works as a fairly good sort of a second backup. Still does a good job, carves it out, just got to be careful, that's all. I know you're getting sick of me saying that, but they really can take off, as you've seen in that wood earlier. Alright, no worries. Cheers for watching Aussie Bonsai Bloke. Please like, share, subscribe. I've started up an Instagram now, Aussie Bonsai Bloke. Check that out too if you want to. There's not many photos up yet, but cheers. Okay, give you a bit of a close-up of these holes. As you can see, they're going a long way, just so that water can pool up in there and naturally rot it out, make it look natural. A tree like this, it shouldn't harm it at all. It should rot out pretty quick. Also down in here in this one, you can see the same thing. Goes a fair way down, so that water will pool up. I'm not going to protect them at all, obviously, so that it rots out. Yep, and that's about it. So that's the carving done for today on this tree, and it's probably all the carving this tree needs. If the trunk rots out one day right through the middle and becomes hollow, well, that's a good thing. So create a lot of interest if that happens. I'm not going to force it to happen, not on this tree. I did on that ash tree, I hollowed that all out. This one I'm not going to, this one I'm going to just leave. So I'll give you a spin of the tree as we go out. One thing I would like to show you, in case you don't believe me, you can see it's just starting to shoot, getting leaves on it. extremely difficult to carve out when it's got little buds all over it. I managed to get the wire on this tree just before the buds popped out. I had to do it in a bit of a hurry, so I didn't really get to do a video, but that's alright, I'm sure you get the idea. No worries, cheers for watching, and I'll give you a spin of the tree.